Afternoon, guys, or good evening, should I say. It's the 10th of July 2025. And today we're going to be doing about why I like running and why do I think it's important to have at least one outlet in your life. So, as some of you might know, I'm going through a bit of a stressful time with work at the moment, and I'm in a bit of a transitionary period where I'm like kind of looking to change paths, but there's a couple milestones I need to hit, such as being able to drive, because there's just not many opportunities around where I live. Anyway, yeah, causing me a bit of stress, right? And running is a way I kind of like deal with that, I suppose. Why do I think it's important? Everyone likes to feel good, everyone likes to feel happy, and everyone likes to be as stress-free as possible, you know. And one of the ways when you're feeling stressed that you can negate that is by escaping, whether that's through physical exercise, video games, doom scrolling, various substances. Yeah, I forgot to say, there's a million things I could say, but I've been stressed and I've fallen into a bad habit, but I'd rather just be transparent about it. It's not something I'm always going to be doing. But it takes the edge off for me when I come home on a night and I can like chill out and listen to some music. So yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, you know, I'm just because I'm talking about this, I'm certainly not above this either. Like I'm guilty. So, but what I say still stands. So, yeah, I believe that outlets, whatever they are, obviously some are better than others, and each one, depending on which one you choose, has advantages and disadvantages. And some of them actually don't have many disadvantages. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that your brain releases when it feels rewarded, and it's to do with like pleasure, motivation, success. It's basically when you've done that thing that you feel, wow, like I feel great, like I've just done that, like I've achieved that, I've done that hard task, you know, I've done that exercise, I've done something that was difficult to do, and it's that feeling of like, yeah, fuck yeah, that sort of thing. So for example, these things trigger dopamine release. They're not good. They form a nicotine addiction over time. They're not that expensive, but they still cost money, and they're not great for your gums, to be honest. What else? I don't smoke, but cigarettes, they're worse. Still nicotine, but they just destroy your lungs. You know, and I fell prey to some of these destructive habits for years. Like, I think some of my main ones were like big time doom scrolling. Like, mate, I was the biggest doom scroller going. I would sit there for hours on end. Like, sometimes I'd be in bed for like 3 hours from when I woke up before I even like got out of bed. Sometimes I didn't even get out of bed till 6. And I'd like spend hours doom scrolling, like looking at like Donald Trump playing like Origins on Black Ops 2 Zombies or something, and just finding it hilarious. Like watching President Biden like fall down some like Air Force stairs because like a Mario Kart had like dropped a banana by his feet and he'd like tumbled. But like, it was so stupid, and for the most part, I couldn't even remember what I had spent hours watching beforehand. It was just a complete waste of time. And you've got other kind of, you know, more taboo escape mechanisms like like getting too handsy. I've done that. It also messes with your dopamine. Like, it kind of kills your sex drive if you like doing it excessively. And I know for a lot of guys how easy that is to do as like a solution. And anyone who says they don't or like haven't fell prey to that a bit, they're lying to you. Video games, another way people escape. They don't have to deal with reality. And alcohol, various drugs, like weed, for example. All forms of escape, you know? And short term, right? They work. It's effective. You don't stress, you forget. But then you just basically go back and hit the reset and you'll probably feel worse. I was getting absolutely nothing done and I knew that. And as a result, I was feeling shit about myself and pretty depressed the next day. So it's not a very effective way to deal with it in the long run, which is what you're aiming to find a solution towards. But it does work short term, depending on the person. Now, I found running. So I find when I run, I'm able to think. I'm quite an active mover. How do I explain that? That doesn't sound very good. So when I'm talking on the phone, for example, or having a conversation, I like to walk around. I'm always pacing up and down and up and down, and it drives my sister and mum insane, and it makes them feel, a bit anxious or on edge. I don't know, but it's something I can't help doing. My dad does it as well. Just my best thoughts come when I'm moving around, when I'm moving. And when I sit down, I become quite restless, so I have to be moving. But running, obviously, moving all the time. And so it gets those creative juices flowing. I'm able to I often have my notes pad page open on my phone, and I'll just be typing out loads of ideas for things I come up with, whether that's lyrics or poetry or ideas I want to incorporate into my future, or just anything really. But it's basically thinking time for me. Decompression time is a good word for it. Second, it relaxes me. I mean, I don't know how, because my heart rate is going because I'm exercising and running long distances, but it relaxes me more than when I'm not running. It's a nice way to sit, but a bit like when I get in some evenings and I decide to have one of these. I just sit there and just slump and just close my eyes and breathe and listen to some music to help me chill. It does that for me, running. Especially when you get past the first 20-25 minutes where you I always think the first lap of a run is the hardest. The second and third are easier because I think your body, it adjusts. Anyway, and third, which I suppose does tie in with the relaxation part, I find my body to be less tense, less tension is stored and dissolves as I run, because I suppose all that movement, it helps dissolve it. There's not a very good description, but that is the way it feels. And there's a million. I could be drinking a pack of beer a day, or I could be smoking the weed or whatever. With running or any physical outlet, one, I'm feeling more confident about myself. You become very lean when you run, and as a result you feel more confident, more happy with yourself and your body. And it doesn't have all those negative side effects. Sure, it is a bit time consuming depending on how long you go for. When I do half marathons, they take 2.25 to 20 hours, but it's worth it for me. It's a nice chill thing to do. But I know running's not everyone's cup of tea. It didn't used to be mine. Neither did abs. I used to hate abs. I used to think, why the hell did people do them? Now it's my best thing. Running's now also my best thing. Something you hate, if you commit to it and see it through, can become something you love. believe it or not. I didn't believe it until I did it. We all need ways to cope, but some are better than others. You have free will. You can decide and opt for the constructive ones, which are often more difficult, physically demanding, or the easy, destructive ones. What I'm saying, these more destructive escape mechanisms, they can be replaced with more constructive escape mechanisms, ways of dealing with stress, because that's what escape is. We live in an age where it's just so easy to kind of pick up your phone, laugh, dopamine, pick up a beer, dopamine, not pour it on your head, by the way. I was thinking more drink it. It really is up to you. But I promise if you put a bit of time, effort and self-belief, the more constructive ones like gym or running or writing or painting or playing a musical instrument, they're really, really doable. You just have to want to try. Unfortunately in life, you can't just snap your fingers and get to a point. You have to do the journey and do the traveling to get to that point. But I promise you, the thought of beginning is a lot more scary than actually beginning, and everyone has the potential to do so as long as they believe in themselves and give themselves permission to make the change. I promise you, it's not as hard to change as you think it is. You just have to kind of say, brother, we don't do that anymore. And that's it. That's what I do. I was at my most unhappy when I was kind of stagnant and just relying on these short form sources of dopamine and actually getting no natural dopamine because I wasn't actually proud of myself in any way, shape or form. I hadn't done anything. I was just kind of bed rotting all day, and I'm sure people can relate to that. But yeah, that's why I think I encourage everyone to get physically active, especially if you're feeling a bit down or sad, if you're in a time of darkness for whatever reason. Do it. You might surprise yourself, and there's some great apps like Strava, for example, I use to keep track, and just see where I'm at. But yeah, good luck guys, thanks for listening.